Spider-Man has returned on the big screen, this time coming from director Daniel Cretton, with a new vision picking up the torch from John Watts' Home trilogy. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I have been so as long as I can remember, so I do have some bias when it comes to my thoughts on the new film, but doing my best to keep, those in check. I think Spider-Man Brand New Day is pretty good. Brand New Day showcases director Destin's strengths through fluid, fast paced action sequences with the help of an amazing stunt and choreography team. The chemistry between Tom Holland and Zendaya, and its more sincere, emotionally grounded character moments. While the film may too small in scale for fans who prefer the more world-ending stakes of the Avengers and other MCU films, it feels right at home with the grounded, character-driven Spider-Man stories from the comics, leaning into the human connection, isolation, and Peter Parker's inner turmoil. I would love to see Destin return to direct future installments. While he brings a breath of fresh air to this new era Tom Holland Spider-Man, I would love to see him double down on elements that make his interpretation of this character feel distinct and unmistakably his own, being able to kind of stand apart from the Watts trilogy. But while watching, I kept feeling like a smaller but important side character is missing in this Peter's life, someone that hasn't been seen on the big screen in almost 20 years. That being Robbie Robertson. Originally created in 1967, first appearing in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 51, Robbie, or Joe Robertson, is usually portrayed as a supporting character in the Spider-Man world and as a high-ranking editor at the Daily Bugle, working alongside J. Jonah Jameson. He is usually written as a voice of reason to juxtapose Jameson, as well as a mentor to Peter Parker. While he is largely known from Sam Raimi's trilogy, played by actor Bill Nunn, or to others who have skin in the game as Radio Raheem, my first introduction to Robbie Robertson was through the 1994 Spider-Man animated series, in which he still embodies that same sense of reason and mentorship. And because it was a TV show that ran for 5 seasons, the writers were able to flesh out his character more, giving them time to explore his family, his backstory with the villain Tombstone, and importantly to this video, his role as a mentor and father figure for Peter Parker. With Brand New Day exploring Peter Parker and the wider themes of loneliness and isolation in an era where both are steadily on the rise, I think director Destin has the opportunity to follow up on this exploration by adding Robbie as a supporting character in the next installment. If he chooses to come back and direct more, which I'm pretty sure both Spidey fans and even MCU and Sony exec boards could agree on. Appearing in just shy of 24 episodes of the original 94 animated series, Robbie is a part of the ensemble of characters in Peter's civilian life. Robbie works as a mentor to Peter, offering support and words of wisdom from a fatherly figure, something, Peter doesn't really have in his life. Robbie has this sense of confidence, stoicism, and level-headedness that tends to let Peter lower his guard and get out of his own head. Sometimes just talking with Robbie and receiving his advice or insight is enough to actually get through to him, making Robbie something of an indirect confidant in Peter's life as Spider-Man because Peter has a great deal of respect for Robbie. Robbie also appears as part of the ensemble cast in the 2008 Spectacular Spider-Man series. While his role and character exploration are limited and not expanded upon as much in the 94 series, he still plays a supportive role and confidant to a much younger Peter Parker. It is also implied that he may know Peter is Spider-Man, much like Robbie from the Sam Raimi series, but I don't think that has been officially, canonized. With Brand New Day introducing themes of Peter overcoming his loneliness and isolation while also introducing a Spider-Man confidant in Liza Colon-Zayas' Jean D. Wolf, this gives Destin the perfect opportunity to follow up on these themes by introducing Robbie as another confidant in Peter's life. Adding Robbie to the cast could give us, the audience, and Peter another character to care about, while also providing Peter the kind of fatherly mentorship and guidance that has been such an important part of Robbie Robertson's character throughout Spider-Man's history. While we did see J.K. Simmons reprise the role of J. Jonah Jameson in Far From Home as a Alex Jones type podcaster and host of the Daily Bugle, I don't think it's impossible to retool and introduce the Daily Bugle in a future installment. Some creative liberties would have to be taken to modernize the Bugle, similar to what they were exploring in No Way Home, since newspapers no longer hold the same cultural influence or place in everyday life that they once did. But this could also be a great opportunity to introduce characters like Dexter Bennett, Glory Grant, and of course, Robbie himself. Tom Holland's Peter doesn't necessarily have to be a photographer like the other live action versions. If they wanted to bring Peter to the Bugle again, I could easily see him working as a web designer for their website, similar to the Bendis Ultimate Spider-Man run. That kind of contemporary update could feel more natural while still allowing the Daily Bugle to remain an important part in Peter's routine and world. I think it would be interesting to see how Peter interacts with these new characters and give him other characters to engage with outside of MJ and Ned. While I do love MJ and Ned and they are great, they are the only secondary mainstay and characters that we've seen, and I think we could use more. Because I'm sure no one is missing this MCU's version of Flash or uh, what was his name? From Far From Home. The guy with the hair. I want to say Alan? Brand New Day showed a lot of promise for where Peter Parker and Spider-Man can go next, introducing new characters and dynamics for him to bounce off of. We've already seen the mentorship that has shaped Peter into the Spider-Man that he currently is, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how Destin and the writers explore that mentorship, growth, and relationships by possibly reintroducing one of Spider-Man's most overlooked mentors, someone who can continue to also shape Peter Parker.
Yeah, there's a demon lurking in Tokyo, feeding on my mind with the darkness only he knows.
Hey, so that's it for me today on Spider-Man Brand New Day. This video was a little different from my other videos, but definitely wanted to quickly give my initial thoughts and impressions instead of waiting 4 to 6 months to make a more philosophical, sociological, in-depth analysis. But I don't know, maybe that more in-depth analysis, isn't completely on the question. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe if that's what you're into. Let me know in the comments what your favorite scene of the movie was and if your Spider-Man movie ranking has changed at all. But I'll see you next time when I sit and talk about whatever I happen to be hyper fixated on at the time. Alright, peace.